Knowles on the news. Susan Knowles.
So here we are again, new day, and the Middle East is on fire again. And everything in the Middle East right now is absolutely moving at lightning speed. You may have heard that Russia is now in Syria. They have gone into Syria to fight ISIS. Why? Because we couldn't get the job done of fighting ISIS and destroying ISIS, so Russia found an opportunity. And I believe that they have gone in there to take full advantage of this opportunity. They've even asked us to go ahead and leave. Just, United States, just go on back home because you didn't do a great job. Get out of the airspace. We want you out of here. So far, we have told them, no, that we're not leaving. But who knows how long that's going to stay the way it is. In any event, it's a very dangerous situation for us and for Israel. As you may recall, Obama wants Assad out. Assad is the leader of Syria. And Obama has repeatedly said that Assad must go in order for ISIS to be destroyed and the Middle East to be stabilized. Now, on the other hand, we have Putin who says, absolutely not. ISIS can only be destroyed if Assad stays in power in Syria. Two nations that totally disagree, but are fighting supposedly the same cause in destroying ISIS. Now, why is Russia so concerned about going into Syria and fighting ISIS there? Other than, perhaps the obvious that ISIS is deadly and could go in and do harm in Russia. Well, Russia has a Navy base in Syria, and they want to do everything that they can do to protect their assets there. And they're probably looking at that and saying, well, the United States isn't going to protect it, so we're going to have to go in there and do that ourselves. In addition, I think there is another underlying cause that's probably even greater than one of going in there, protecting their assets, and fighting ISIS. I think Russia wants to become a very powerful nation by going in and taking over as much territory as they possibly can. We've seen them do that over and over. And we've even heard Putin recently say that, the worst thing that he ever has seen is the demise of the Soviet Union. So, the Soviet Union at one time was so powerful and had all of this territory. So why wouldn't we think then that Putin is going there to build the power of his nation up, to get back to that time when they were very powerful? And in fact, I think he's going in there and looking to become the second most powerful nation in the world. But I really don't think that it would be a stretch of the imagination to assume that if he starts there, he's just going to continue to strive to be the most powerful nation in the world. And he's obviously going to have help in doing that. We've seen the alliance between Russia and Iran just grow stronger and stronger every day. I've talked before about this nuclear Iran deal and why it's so bad. Well, if they get $150 billion out of this Iran deal, Iran can just simply go over to Russia, give them money to help them fight ISIS or anybody else that they want to fight in Syria and elsewhere. Together they can do whatever they want to do. Now, some people have said, do you think this is the biblical perspective or the biblical prophecy coming true of Ezekiel 38 and 39 of Gog and Magog when Russia and Iran go into Syria and perhaps eventually into Israel? Well, here's what I say about that. I don't know if it is or not. But what I do know is that it seems to me that Russia, once they get into Syria, they can simply just tell Assad, okay, it's time for you to go. We've changed our minds now. Out you go. They can take over Syria along with Iran, and then they can say, you know what? Israel's right here on the border. Why don't we just keep moving and go in and get Israel? In any event, it's not going to be good for Israel in the long run. And if nothing else, Russia, sitting right there in Syria, can put a lot of pressure on Israel to do what Russia wants them to do. And unfortunately, the United States has sort of set all of this up by being a government that didn't want to go in, leading from behind. We used to make fun of France and talk about France surrendering all the time and not doing a good job and being afraid to fight. Well, the United States is just about there at that situation because we have gotten rid of our top military generals and other commanders, and I don't know who's running the show right now. I don't know who is telling the president in Syria what we should or shouldn't do. Is it the military or is it John Kerry, God forbid, who's telling Obama what to do? And even if those that are left are telling Obama what to do, those in the top in the military, is Obama even going to listen to them? I really doubt it. I don't think he's going to want a war of any kind with Russia, and Russia knows that. Russia's going to sit there and tell us eventually, get out. And probably eventually we may do just that. And as we go back with our tails between our legs, this is really not going to make us look good in front of the rest of the world, which right now we're not looking so hot. But this whole situation has gotten out of hand. It's going to get out even more so out of hand. And I don't think that we're going to be able to do too much about it. Perhaps Obama will just need to continue to sit there watching the news in hopes that he can learn what you and I know about the news. But apparently, the news isn't talking too much about this situation because all it can do is make the United States look weak and look like they don't know what they're doing. I think there's a real possibility that our men and women who are fighting in the military are going to go into a really dreadful situation over there. And I hope that we can just keep them in our prayers because we are at a very critical point in the Middle East right now. Until next time, it's Susan Knowles with Knowles on the News.